Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is Kid the Revolutionary for another video bringing at you something to discuss regarding the current political happenings in Kenya. So, karibuni sana. If this is your first time here, my name is Kenya Revolutionary. I talk about Kenyan politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. Just before we delve into um, the news, it is rumored that this this coming weekend, this weekend that is starting right now, today is Furahi Days for those of you who don't know, or Saturday, depending on where you are, if you're in China or somewhere in Asia. It is rumored that Iran might be going to war with US, or US might be striking Iran today. So we don't know. We are waiting. There are people being nervous. The markets are kind of panicking, and people are talking about, worry about jaza mafuta, bei ya mafuta, and everything else will go up. So, whatever. But just to finish up with the formalities, again, if this is your first time here, please, if you like this kind of content where we talk about politics, world politics, and Kenyan politics to be precise, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment, share, and make sure the bell button is on so every time I come in, I can always find you here. I can see Gypsy is already here, or good here. Karibu sana, karibu sana. And for those of you who are going to watch this on repeat, please do the same. If you've already subscribed, the first order of business is to like the video and make sure that the notification button is already on. Thank you so much, Goodia, aka Gypsy. But anyway, so today I really want to touch on again about the upcoming Linda Wanainchi gatherings movement led by Sifuna, Babu, and Orengo. I see a lot of Kenyans are caught up in the euphoria and they're happy about this. I already talked about this, so there's nothing much to add to it other than regurgitate whatever I said and just give you my aim here, my ambition here today is to have a wholesome understanding of what's transpiring in Kenyan politics, okay? And let me start by saying this. This is the conveyor belt is producing well vetted, compromised next generation of politicians to take center stage of our politics, okay? This coffee is so good and the weather is so good. I'm so excited. But let me explain myself briefly. I know you're wondering, what are you talking about? The conveyor belts, conveyor belts. Listen, I always tell you that the political class of Kenya, who are essentially being controlled by the colonial imperialist capitalists on the West, they want to make sure that they have a well-groomed, compromised, blackmailed politicians that, come through their conveyor belt, okay? They groom them, they start them as political activists in university level, where you see the likes of Caswells and others. And then through the years, they grow and develop into, through the help of the media, which they control, they kind of prop up these guys as the new shining armor that people should run around, the messiah of the day, the gallant politician who's ready to take on corruption, ready to fight the imperialists, ready to fight the system. That's the name of the play. So we are basically they're trying to usher in a new breed of these compromised, corrupt politicians to take stage, since the old guard are kind of phasing away through natural selection. Let me break it down further. I see you, Mr. JSS 18 Studio. Karibu sana, I see you. Gypsy is telling me I'm not happy about Linda the public because Watch the Sifuna camp will soon be joining DCP Gachagua's team. Okay. Gypsy Kona is already having his suspicions about Sifuna. Nice comment. So what I'm trying to say is this. The old folks, the old politicians, the Kalonzos, the Matiangis, the Uhuru Kenyatas, the Rutos, the you know, Gachaguas, okay? Even though Gachagua is fairly new in the, well, not new in the sense that he's not a new face, but he's taking center stage now, but before then he wasn't really a factor to worry about. So what I mean is this: the usual suspect that we've always entertained by, or have been entertained by, are kind of phasing out. Not by choice, but people are already tired. The ground, people are tired. It's the same faces, the same Martha Karuas, the same Matiangi, the same Uhuru Kenyatta, the same Ruto, the same Kalonzo Musyoka, the same Raila Odinga, who's now out. Okay? Yes. Kenya. Gypsy, you're funny. Studio, yes, I am Yusuf. Yusuf, is that Yusuf? Oh, I didn't know it's Yusuf. Okay, Karibu Sana Yusuf. Nice seeing you. Yeah, so these guys, they understand that the public, the Gen Zs, especially the young folks who are growing up, they're tired of seeing the same faces. It's time to change the channel. I'm again. You know, you're watching the same channel, the same people talking about the same things, you know, and they're saying the same things about each other, okay? Nothing really is bringing change. So the trick is they already vetted, they already groomed next generation of compromised politicians who they will remotely control, okay? Who they will play as their ventriloquists, the puppeteers, okay, behind the power. Like I told you last time, the Sifuna, ODM, which is giving back to this Linda Wanainchi and versus Linda, I don't know, Linda Ground and all this Linda nonsense, okay? It's basically Linda Ofala or Linda the status quo. That is basically what it should be. Linda the status quo, okay? These guys are being remotely controlled by two factions, okay? Which are still the same. Uhuru Kenyatta faction, which is the Kenyatta family faction, and Ruto. And I've always told you that Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta are not enemies. Okay, they might differ in the public eye, but they're not. Prime example you saw just last week when they met at Addis Ababa and they were smiling and cheesing it up in the presence of the president of Ethiopia. Now, there are people, there were mamas that, you know, Uhuru was striking a deal or with Ruto in Ethiopia, how things might play out as far as politically back in Kenya. If you were to ask me, I would say that play was already agreed upon way before today. Remember, kumira, kumi yangu, kumi yako. It's being implemented. The main hindrance is gone. Raila Odinga, who is basically an extortionist, okay, is out of the way. So these two folks who basically are, to be honest with you, it's not a level ground. It's not like Ruto is not Uhuru's equal as far as influence and wealth is concerned, internationally or internally in Kenya. Remember, Ruto has been building his wealth in the past 20 years or so, or maybe I might argue 30 years, when he became the MP of North Eldoret or whatever the case may be. That's when he started getting, you know, his old Karabati, and he started becoming a millionaire. And now he's president. He's actually trying to, you know, control everything. Basically, he's trying to do what the Kenyatas started doing in 1963. The Kenyatta has been in the game for a long time. The Kenyatas and the Mois, okay? Okay, and then John Jones. They've been in the game for a long time. So these guys have amassed wealth, lot of wealth and influence, both internationally, regionally in the Eastern Bloc of Africa, and also well connected with the Western imperialist. Okay, that's why you saw Uhuru Kenyatta when there was that funeral of I don't know, was it the king of I don't know where in Germany? He went and attended that as the only black man who was up there in attendance. It shows you the level of you know, how deep this guy is connected with the And go to Gaito's page, Francis Gaito's page. I mean, he's exposing how Uhuru, through his emissaries, were making deals with Epstein and others, all these people who are being caught up now in the Epstein files. Okay, so you can see how these guys are well connected. Ruto is just right now at the helm, trying to amass as much wealth as he can. But these guys, Wakina Mois and Uhuru Kenyatta's, and Kenyatta family, these guys have been doing it since the 1960s. So you cannot compete with that. Now, let me go to this Sifuna thing. I remember the last time I was here, there was somebody asked me a very good question. I didn't finish my thesis on what I was talking about. How can we actually overcome or bring real change in Kenya? Okay, in a ethnically divided society. Okay, because now if you see, even if you look at the Linda Wanainchi or Linda the Public movement, what it is, it comes from the same playbook that we are accustomed to. Okay, tribal blocks. The amalgamation of different tribal blocks to make up the numbers for electoral victory. The sad news is this, though. While people might do the tribal arithmetics and tell you that, Sifuna will carry the Western, Sifuna will carry the Nyanza province, Sifuna will carry this one, I have bad news for you. Elections are not determined by the voters. In Kenya, the elections are not determined by the voters. Let me slow it down. Elections in Kenya are not determined by the voters. I don't care if 47 or 46 out of 47 counties and their tribal affiliation, whatever the case is, are in support of you. They will not determine who wins the elections. I'll repeat one last time for the people who are sitting at the back. You can do the tribal arithmetic until the cows come home. Uniambie Sifuna atashinda, sijui hapo watu wa Mountain watampigia akishikana na Gachagua, na Babu atashikana hapo na watu wa Nyanza watampigia, sijui Nairobi atakuwa. I don't care. The reality is the elections in Kenya are not determined by the people. Case in point, 2008, 2007. Why do you think people we had post-election violence? I mean, it's more complicated than just, a stolen election. But that was the main thing. That was the triggering point. Right? 2017, what happened again? Uhuru never won. Uhuru never won a presidential election. And now here he is sitting on his chubby behind, enjoying taxpayers' pension money. Okay? Talking smart wherever he goes. And he never won elections. He's not a legitimate president. He never won the presidential elections. We can argue Ruto the same thing, even though I thought he won. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is this. This is a preparation for what is to come. The people that you saw in Kitengela, okay, the crowd, the mammoth crowd, so to speak, the successful campaign that was held in Kitengela, and probably another, wonderful showing is going to happen in Kakamega. Okay, it's like mbuzi ambayo is being fed. You're being fed to be slaughtered, ready for slaughter. Yeah, wanasemanga before you slaughter the ninio, the pig or the mbuzi, you feed it properly. I'll tell you what I mean in a minute. What I simply mean is this: while you're jumping around, happy, Sifuna is following the footsteps of Baba. Sifuna is the shining armor. Sifuna is the new messiah. Sifuna ndio mwanasiasa hodari. I don't have to go through why I told you Sifuna is a fake politician, just like the rest of them. It's not different. What they're preparing you is for a confrontation. Come 2027, you'll be happy. Everyone is easy, can pretty much say Ruto is going to lose. The tide are against Ruto. The general feeling, mood of the ground is that Ruto must go. He has to go, right? It's a very familiar song. I've heard of it. I've heard the remix version, okay? And to be honest with you, I'm not impressed because this is the same thing we were saying about Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru must go. Uhuru must go. In running up 2017, all the political analysts told us, gave us the maps, the tribal, ethnic, arithmetic, telling us Baba is carrying the whole country except the Mount Kenya and Wasingishu, Bonde la Ufa. What happened? Uhuru rigged himself back and unleashed violence against everybody who opposed his stolen victory, including every arm of government, judges, everybody else. Okay? So we are wasting a lot of time getting excited over this Linda Wanainchi. It's a bunch of nothing. Substantively, if you are to look what they're actually saying, what are they really campaigning for? It's the usual nonsense. Every political party in Kenya that you see, they say very nice things. Just like Ruto was telling us very nice things. I shall fight corruption. I shall fight this. In my 100 days, you nitafanya ifanye kazi, sha ifanye kazi. I'll create jobs for vijana. So I'll have affordable, just a bunch of nonsense. They just say it in different variation. Ata wakina nani, Sifuna party, they tell you, oh, the debt is a problem. So if you bring back the debt, if you cut down the debt, we can free up that money. You will not solve anything by telling the Kenyan people campaigning on a platform at mpaka to cut a debt. Because all of them are missing the point. Wakenya, listen to me. Kenyans, majority of the people, and this is sad. Let me just bring you to this. This is a revelation that you need to understand. They don't actually understand why the system is not working. They don't. I'll repeat this. Majority of the people of Kenya, that's why you see them running in this Linda Wanainchi, Linda Sijui ground, Linda bull crap. It is because they don't understand why the system is not working for them. They think changing these personalities, changing the personnel, the names that we know, the popular name of the day, is going to solve the issue. That's why I dare say something controversial today. It's actually silly to say Ruto must go. It's stupid. I'm sorry. I have to rephrase this, Lenio. It is. And by saying that, I don't mean to say that Ruto needs to stay to keep being the president of Kenya, continue being the president of Kenya. That's not what I'm saying. You have to identify why the system is not working. It is not about Ruto must go. We started singing Moi must go, Moi went. We brought Kibaki. Kibaki must go, we sang. Kibaki went. Eh? We brought in Nani. Uhuru rigged himself in. We started singing Uhuru must go. Uhuru's finished 10 years. Kasongo kaingia. Now we are singing Ruto must go. Don't you notice, can't you notice that there's a pattern? No matter who you put in there, hakuna change. There's no real meaningful change on the ground in the lives of everyday people. So it is like having a car that una change mafuta. Uliweka kerosene, bado ile engine inalia vibaya. Unasikia kama kitu, you know, there's something engine ina ninio. Hailii vizuri. Unaweka mafuta taa, unaweka ninio ingine, mafuta ingine. Still the engine. So you have to get back to the drawing board and do a proper diagnosis of what's wrong with the car. You can't keep on putting water, kerosene, sijui nini, and you expect a different result. You have to do a thorough analysis of what's actually wrong with the car. But the people, hawa watu ambao wako huko juu, the elites, they know this. That's why they distract you with these personalities like Sifuna, Babu Orengo, Gachagua, Martha Karua, Kalonzo, Matiang'i. Proven useless individuals, corrupt to the core. And the most powerful tool in this fight to revolutionize the system is information. The big media, you know, with the advent of the podcast era, where everyone is opening their podcast, everyone has a live stream. The influencers are making gazillions, millions. Okay? What the people in that system that are controlling the system, these corrupt political elites of Kenya, what they've done is they've compromised every influencer. That's why Pauline Njoroge is even boldly running for positions now. Pauline Njoroge and others. They're coming from podcasters to they want to become women rep or MPs. Jalas, a radio presenter, became an MP. You see what I'm saying? They've made sure that every avenue, everywhere where you can get real information, where you expose the fallacy of this personality-based politics, inafinywa, is suppressed. If you go look at the top podcasters or news talk shows, whether it's on Citizen TV, KTN, Citizen, whatever, NTV, listen to what they are talking about. Even wakina sijui nini, what do you call it? All this David Wafula, Lee McQueen, and others, Generation Radio, and all these people, sijui fixing the nation. Just listen to what they're talking about. Go listen to all these people. It's always about, the question is, this is how the discussion will be. So do you think Sifuna can be the president? Is Sifuna enough? Can Sifuna defeat Ruto? The last is challenging Sifuna. Who will take over ODM? What is going on with nothing that addresses ways of what is actually wrong with the country, and nothing addresses how it can be changed. All these personalities that have been mentioned, that you see on your televisions, that are being promoted by the media and the social media through these paid influencers, and they mess up with the algorithm to favor them. All of them, they never want to address what is ailing Kenya. Okay? They never do that. It is all about drama. Drama. It is like watching Arsenal. Drama. They're not going anywhere. Distraction. Unasikia? Ni makelele tu to distract. Linda Wanainchi is not going to help anyone. Now, let me address how we can change the system. Number one, we have to reject every current public official. Every current public official. If you've ever been a public official in Kenya, whether an MCA, a chief, a sub-chief, an MP, a president, a governor, an MCA, or whatever any public space, any public official in Kenya, we have to reject all of them. All of them. And everything they say. That is number one. You have to reject all of them because all of them had a pivotal role into getting us where we are today. Number two, we have to reject all the so-called Githeri media that is owned and controlled by the corrupt political elites in Kenya. Not only the so-called Githeri media, all the social media influencers that are known to be NIS paid stooges. Number 3 or 4, whatever the case may be, we must reject anybody who pops out of nowhere, who associates himself or herself with any public official, whether it's Ruto with people like Salah, or anybody who tries to associate himself with the Sifuna, Babu, and other fakers that are pretending to be the solution to Kenya. We have to get back to the people putting emphasis on the holy grail that makes us a republic, which is the Constitution. That is the one thing in the religion that we call politics is to be considered the Bible of the nation. We should emphasize that it is enforced, implemented, and we should exercise it as a people. How do we do it in a practical way? Okay, how do we do it in a practical way? The youth, the people, it doesn't have to be the youth only, the people, just like these folks are organizing themselves to have these rallies of Linda Wanainchi, Linda Ground, Linda sijui nini, Linda sijui nini. Let the young people, the people of Kenya, okay, make the constitution as the main what? The main thing in the agenda. Because what the constitution will do, the constitution will expose how unqualified not only Ruto is, unqualified Matiang'i is, unqualified Martha Karua is, unqualified Gachagua is, unqualified Sifuna is, unqualified Babu Wino is, and all the rest of them. You understand? I keep on saying the problem in Kenya is not that we don't have leaders. It is not that we have bad leaders. No, that's not the problem. The problem is that no one respects the Constitution of Kenya. That's why it is not implemented. And that's why every public official that is privileged to hold a public office always grossly violates it. And they get away with it. That's why the society breaks down. Some people lord over others, oppress others, knowing that there will be no consequences for their criminal actions, knowing that they will be not brought to account. Audit General comes out today, tells us 32 billion imepotea hapa, 200 billion imepotea hapa. No one can explain where it went. Wavinya Ndeti is doing her thing there, stealing money. In Machakos, or whatever the case she is. Orengo, looting Siaya. There he is, and anajifanya, he's standing there to Linda Wanainchi, while the Wanainchi of Siaya is looting their taxpayers' money. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because they cannot be brought to account for their criminal activities, and they know they can get away with it. That's why they're so confident. In fact, they're arrogant. They're hubris. They come out and bullcrap you and tell you that, hey, listen, I'm supporting. In fact, I want to run for president. I've stolen enough money to spend it on campaign that I can even become the president and continue with the looting spree. What does that show? It's a society that we are being taught that if you have money, regardless of how you make it, you are above the law. You can get away with anything. Uhuru presided over the state of Kenya, nation, administratively, stole billions that cannot be traced. He's walking around with his stomachs filled, arrogantly chastising people. You see what I'm saying? Waluka stole. Is it in Busia or whatever the case is? Mumias. Matiang'i dumped bodies in Rivayala. Dead young folks who are innocent. Their bodies dumped in Rivayala. Baby Pendo was shot. An innocent child. But there's no accountability. But here, the same people who are above the law are grouping up and telling you, hey, I have this shiny manifesto that when I become the president, if you vote for me, I will fight corruption. In fact, I will jail these people. I will even jail Ruto. I'll even jail myself if I find myself corrupt. Na mnapiga makofi, mnasema linda wananchi, linda sijui nini. But you're not asking the hard questions. You're not exposing them, telling them, hey, wewe ulikuwa na kesi with overwhelming evidence of graft, murder, violating the rights of the Wanainchi. But here you are today telling us that you're fit to run for president. I'm sorry, the Constitution under Chapter 6 does not qualify you to run for any public office. Now you see, we are not applying the rule of law, the Constitution, to disqualify these criminals. Money laundering, unaona watu wanabeba milioni kwa cash, giving out. But you'll be busy, utaona mtu anaenda Citizen TV or NTV or sijui Fix the Nation or sijui, hiyo program ya ndii hapo nini, standard sijui nini, or Radio Generation, anaanza kusema, you know me, I'm a capitalist, I'm a sijui communist. That has nothing to do with anything. I told you, being a communist or a socialist or capitalist, and every iteration of this, whether you are a Trotskyist, Marxist, Leninist, it does not matter. It's all nonsense. If there's no rule of, because the law is what makes a society. That's why God gave 10 commandments. It was the law. In order to have a society, you have to have a law that governs how we live amongst each other. Now, if you have a society where people don't respect the law, then you'll have chaos. Those who have a lot will oppress those who do not have. They will make sure that your kids are not educated. They'll make sure that you're not educated enough to challenge the very system that favors them. That's why you have lawlessness. The British government is extracting minerals by the day, gold and other precious metals in Kenya, flying it out every day, where you're wallowing in poverty. Kihika wants to give a huge land to Israeli settlers in Nakuru, while there's people in Madari who cannot even afford a meal. Not even Madari, in Nakuru, who are homeless, do not have health care, do not have jobs. But Kihika is ready to give thousands of acres to foreigners because she has sold out. Ruto is rubbing shoulders with Bill Gates, who's pro population control. You saw the Epstein files? They want to reduce the population in Africa. Sifuna was with Baba negotiating for power so that they can have red carpets and all this nonsense. He's the one jumping around, going to Kakamega tomorrow with Babu Orengo, who should be in Kodiaga serving life in prison for attempted murder. and Orengo serving life sentence for looting millions and billions from CIA Impress account, these are the guys who are standing up, telling you that they have a wonderful plan for the country. In fact, they don't even have a manifesto. Their main talk will be to complain about Ruto's regime. Oh, tunaona vile SHA haifanyi kazi, wanaiba pesa, sijui nini. Isn't that what Ruto was doing against Uhuru Kenyatta? Isn't that what Uhuru Kenyatta was doing about the previous regime? And the cycle continues. So screaming Ruto must go is almost, it's silly. It's actually silly. Because look at what they prepared for you to take over from Ruto. Look at the lineup. Who among them do you think is fit to run? Who hasn't been a beneficiary of this corrupt political system in Kenya? That's what I'm saying. In order to be a sovereign nation, you have to stick by that very document, the law that makes us sovereign, that actually spells it out that the people of Kenya are sovereign. Now, if you're sovereign, you cannot be giving out the natural resources to Britain and France. That's why they're getting kicked out of Burkina Faso. I just saw the news. There's some French forces who have been arming the terrorists in Sahel nations. They've been arrested by the Cameroonian authorities. The French are actually running away because Burkina Faso, through Wagner, the Russian help, they're kicking out the French. Colonialism must end in Africa. It has to. And the French are losing. France will be a third world country without extorting Africa. If France was to be kicked out of Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Ivory Coast, and these Francophone nations, France will be a third world nation. And it's heading there. Jacques Chirac said it already. Without the extraction of African minerals, France will collapse overnight. The EU is a myth. Is a myth. The only country there that can stand by itself is Germany. Spain economically cannot survive. Italy is in tatters. They depend on the American dollar for them to continue this war in Ukraine. Russia is already destroying Ukraine. It's not a war. It's not a competition. Zelensky is living in Switzerland. That's why you see Ukrainians now, they're tricking the Africans, telling them that go to Ukraine and find a new job that they pay you $3,000 a month, a week. When you get there, they send you to the war zone to fight the Russians because they don't have anybody volunteering to join their military. Putin is actually being nice to them because historically Ukrainians, they share a lot of historical background with Ukraine. But back to Africa. We cannot have the same recycled colonial puppets who are flooding our markets with GMO seeds and all these needles. I don't want to say the needles. Huh? Bringing us diseases. The GMO, the mosquitoes that Bill Gates was talking about. It's in Nairobi right now. Go read the Epstein files. You'll be shocked. The World Health Organization. Go read the Epstein files for yourself. While Ruto and Uhuru were canoodling with Epstein. So anyway, back to Sifuna and Linda Wanainchi. The distraction from what really matters is what's going on here with this Linda Wanainchi movement. The suppression of the truth. This is all paid for courtesy of Uhuru Kenyatta's stolen wealth, using those billions that he has been stealing and his family has been stealing since 1963. They are used to prop up these puppets to run for president in 2027 in order to continue securing the British interest in Kenya. That is what's happening. So all of a sudden you see, even wakina Gachagua wana support Sifuna, Pauline Njoroge, of all the people. The way to defeat these people is to counter their movement with a patriotic movement that put the emphasis on the respect on what makes this country sovereign, which is the Constitution. Because like I said, it will expose how disqualified these unqualified these leaders are, all of them, whether it's the president and the opposition. So the battlefield is the information sector. Mtandao, you can see that they're working hard to buy everyone. So it has to start in the ground. Networking on the ground. Then we bring it to the Mtandao. You see what I'm saying? Because look at how the barrage of information, how they are pounding our heads day and night on Sifuna and this Githurai nonsense, on Ruto and Gachagua's nonsense. Look at how day and night, hata tuwezi kupumua. Why? Because they understand the power of information. Why do you think Ruto keeps on lying and he knows he's lying, but he keeps on lying? Because he knows if you lie, if you keep on lying for a long time, people will start believing the lie. You'll be programmed and conditioned to believe the lie. That's why they keep on telling the lie. And that's why they're scared of the truth and they suppress it. So while people are excited about Linda Wanainchi, it's a sham. But go entertain yourself. And then mkapige makofi, alafu tia gas itatupwa, mufurahie, and you feel like you've accomplished something. Let me read some interesting tweets here. I like people when they talk smart. Apparently, I'm saying nonsense. Absolutely. Sema tu. You're not saying anything. You're saying this is bad, all are bad. What do you want? What do I want? I want a functioning republic called Kenya. Okay? I'm saying all are bad. When you're saying all, I don't mean all Kenyans. I mean all politicians currently in Kenya. Yes, I can say that without biting my tongue. They're all bad. All the politicians. Everybody that is holding public office should be removed and disqualified for ever running again. So who do I want? The person I want does not exist yet because the people haven't chosen yet. What am I advocating for? I'm advocating for the people of Kenya who are the sovereigns. Because that's what our constitution says. That's what the law says. The people of Kenya are sovereign. So I want the people of Kenya to make an educated, well-informed choice by first recognizing that they are the sovereigns. And so they should kick out every public official, since every public official in Kenya has played a major role in the shithole that they find themselves in today. So kick them out, fire them by exercising your sovereign power directly. Don't wait for the elections. The constitution does not say that we have to have elections for order to choose a leader. No. The constitution says that we can either express or exercise our power directly or indirectly. As it stands now, these public officials are exercising our power that we donated to them indirectly. But they've failed, and they've proved that they've failed. So it is time for the people to take back their power and exercise it directly. To Endeni State House and declare that all public officials, starting from Ruto down to the janitor, are fired. IBC to be dismantled, tuanze mpya, and let's pick new leaders who shall respect the constitution so that we can be and remain a sovereign republic called Kenya, not this criminal enterprise that is presided over by Ruto on the behalf of the British Empire. That is what I'm advocating for. If you can't understand that, there's no hope for you. Until then, keep on enjoying the show. Ya hii wakina Sifuna. Next month utapewa another leader. Utaona next month mtaambiwa Martha Karua is the eighth. Iron Lady. Alafu next month mtaekewa mtu mwingine Babu Orengo, Gachagua or some stupid person. Endeleeni na inchezo. Until you recognize the problem, mutazidi kukorogwa by the Rutos, the Uhurus, the Moi family, and all these people. My name is Kenya Revolutionary. Share, like, comment, do all the good stuff. I'm out. Peace and blessings.